So I wanted to make some videos to give you a little bit of life advice about things that people ask me and things that seem to come up up in my business and up in my RV life and behind the scenes. In this video, I really want to talk to you about what works for someone else might not work for you. That goes for business, RV life, relationship advice, anything you can think about in your life. Someone told me this, and actually it made me think about this and kind of like why I wanted to make these videos about these little life lesson series that I would say, and why what works for someone else might not work for you. So for instance, for a while I've been pushing like this course, gotta sell this course, and you gotta book a call with me, and I'm supposed to give away like all these free sales calls, spend like 45 minutes on the phone with like every person and build these relationships, which I'm all about building and nurturing relationships. But wouldn't it have been easier and better just to not get them on the phone call to sell them the course? Couldn't I have just told them the price, given them a page of information, commonly asked questions that you already get asked? And if they wanted to book a call with me, to me that would be like an upgrade of the selling point, or it could be a part of the course, which it has been for a while in one of my courses. And so I took these sales calls to sell people on my high ticket program, which that's fine and all, and I get why people say like, oh, don't put that on like a landing page or your website, is because if you put a price that's over $500 or say over $1,000, most people will buy an item on a page with the click of a button if it's under $1,000. But if it goes over $1,000, it starts to tell people, maybe unconsciously, hey, those little radars go off and it says like, oh, what, we should be cautious about buying this thing, and they look for other reasons to why they need to buy that thing, like what validates it. Because, you know, under $1,000 they might be like, oh, okay, I'm willing to lose that. Not saying that's not a lot of money to some people, I'm just saying some people are willing to lose that or put it on a credit card, versus other people are not willing to lose $3,000 or more. If someone was going to invest with me and they were going to get all these coaching calls, access to my course content, my community, and like upgrades and things like that, then yeah, that would be a more high ticket item than just pushing a button and buying like just a simple course. And also, you kind of want to vet who's coming through your course. One purpose is of like, you don't want people stealing your content. Also because you want to make sure it's right for them. Like you don't want someone investing their money and then being like, oh, that didn't work for me, just because it wasn't for them. Some of it is like a protection of your content, and some of it is like a protection of your reputation or you, and a protection for them. That's why I say like what works for someone else might not work for you. And it kind of made me a little angry, and I'm trying really hard not to get angry. My boyfriend actually sent me this like Joel Osteen.
They'll say things they shouldn't, do things that are hurtful. You can't stop the offense from coming, but you can keep it from getting down in you. How much time are you spending offended, bitter, holding a grudge? How much more could you accomplish if you would start letting things go? How much better relationships would you have if you would get emotionally healthy? If you would let go of what people said, forgive the person that did you wrong, quit reliving the hurts.
Which I was surprised that he was actually watching. That was kind of funny. He sent me something about him watching this Joel Osteen thing, and it was like, why you need to let it go. And so I'm trying to let it go, but I'm really kind of fed up with, I got really angry at this person that told me,
you have to sell this course, it's a high ticket item, get on these sales calls.
And part of it is because I really love this person for who this person is, but what I learned is like this person wasn't doing the thing that I wanted to do. So it's like what was working for them would not work for me, or isn't working for me 100%. And so yeah, maybe I should take like little bits and pieces from this person. Like they did teach me how to sell myself and how to sell, but they didn't teach me, not that they didn't teach me something, it's just they forced something about sales calls and you got to do this high ticket item. And I'm just like, wow, why can't I just put it on a website, and why can't they just buy? They just, here's the price. You've watched hundreds of videos about me already. If you want to invest with me, you kind of like know what I'm about, and you can invest or not. I don't know why I didn't trust my own gut instinct about what was working for me before. And so yeah, one of my clients and dear friends now says, Brandi, you're bigger than RV life. And like this person that you follow, like, they're starting to piss me off. And so I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not gonna follow them anymore as far as like all of their advice. I also noticed that like this person doesn't travel, they don't RV, they even talk about how they're like a homebody more and they really don't like to leave because it disrupts their business. Versus me, I'm like a digital nomad and I travel and I don't want to be part of like this worldly system, this 9 to 5. I wouldn't want to say my life is a vacation. My life is like a lifestyle. You make money and travel, and I prefer to do that when I'm RV living, either here in the RV or I could be at the condo, or we might be in an Airbnb or a hotel. I prefer to be doing the van life thing when we're in our van, but those are just parts of me. And so that's why I say what worked for me may not work for you. Even if you take one of my programs or even do coaching with me or, you know, book calls with me to get my advice, what works for me may not all work for you, but it'll give you ideas. It'll give you things to think about and more to go on and maybe clarity, you know, something that you didn't have before. That's why I really wanted to open myself up to more than just a course than what I've been doing. And so instead of taking these free sales calls now, I've been positioning myself to say, okay, I charge for those calls and you can ask me anything you want about RV life and business and behind the scenes of Brandi. You just gotta pay. So there's a price for that, you know, and that does come with experience and time and just also knowing what my time is valuable and worth. And why is it that I shouldn't charge for those? It was really interesting. This person is like telling me how I should run my business. And also the other reason is because like they ended up being sales calls instead of like a coaching call. I felt restrained on like what I could offer or say or do on these calls. And it was almost like, hey, I've got this whole thing that I could give you right now to solve all your problems, but you gotta pay me and it's really expensive. Even though I could have gave them like just a little piece so they could get to the next level, the next thing and the next thing. You live and you learn, but I've been rebranding Brandi, repositioning my brand. I broke my brand, which I made a video about, which I'll put a link to in the description below this video. But this is another reason why you don't want to follow other people, is because I literally like broke my brand and everything is either in beta currently or was in beta by the time you're watching this video. I'm not sure. I had to rebuild it all. I had to rebuild my entire brand. All these products and services that I had for sale, I literally just took them and I squashed them. And why I made a video about why you should stop telling people your dreams, because they'll take them and squash them and they'll say, hey,
Only sell this coaching course and only take free calls.
but what's funny is like this person that's telling you to take free calls, they're not taking free calls. They have all these little minions to take the calls for them. So they're just up here running the show while all these other people are doing all the work for them. And then I also looked at like how this person does their emails, and so their emails are very bland. They're not really like readable. You know how when you read a blog post, normally you want it to be readable and you'll have like bold titles and sections, and so you kind of like read through it. These are very like long, boring emails. Not that they're not valuable content. I think the fact is how it looks to you. It's just like these long paragraphs of just blah. It resonated with me about there's this other person that I follow that I don't want to say I've kind of like ignored, but I kept thinking like, oh, they just sell all these random products and services, but like it works for them. You know, it works for them, it works for their lifestyle. So why can't it work for me and my lifestyle? It did, it can, it does, it will again. But why I had to rebuild everything, because this person that I followed like literally told me how to break my life is what I did. I broke my life, I broke my business, I broke my website, and it caused a lot of stress. And literally I'm sitting on the couch with my boyfriend a couple weeks ago and he was just like,
this is so stressful.
And I was like, I know. My life is so stressful.
He's like, you got sales calls today? Because it's pretty much like, hey, do you have sales calls today? Okay, cool. Can we go live our life? If not,
I don't want to live my life around these free, and that was the other thing. Then I would show up for these free calls, and then sometimes people wouldn't even show up because it's free to them. Why do they care? Or they would spend all this time on the phone with me, and then my boyfriend's like, okay, are you ready to eat? Are you ready to go? Like, come on. And then they don't invest with me. I was giving away so much of my time for free. And so what works for one person doesn't work for another. And so I was watching this one person who has this boring content, and then I have this other person who has this like really exciting content, and they're fun and they're bubbly and they're like me and how I used to run my business, which is like super emojis and like these banners with these cute quotes. And I just wish that I would have shared more about my travels and my RV life and things that I was sharing and I was on the path to doing. I just wasn't really sure where it was headed. But really, the thing that I start to forget about was that when I started my business, Arversity was not really like the thing that was making me money. It was something that was like a hobby. And it was just, I was getting people on an email list and I was just like sharing my RV videos. And then I had my business over here where I was talking about like branding and social media and teaching people how to build their businesses and from my own experiences and things that I've been through, because my RV life didn't really start out as smooth or even start out RVing. I started out starting a business and then I started out RVing. So if you haven't seen my story, check that out in the description below. I'll put a link to that. But my RV life didn't start out as, hey, I'm going to quit my job and start RVing. It started out as, I'm going to start a business, and then because of things that happened in my life, in my story, it led me to RVing. And why I say what works for you won't work for me, and what works for me won't necessarily work for you. But you should take bits and pieces of what other people do that you follow or like. Just don't take everything. Even me, don't take everything, because it's not a cookie cutter business. It's not a cookie cutter RV life. It's not a cookie cutter anything. You have to take things that you learn. You know, I keep lists and ideas. I made a video about all the systems that I use that I'll put a link to below this video, but I talked about all my digital nomad systems that I use to keep organized online and while I'm on the road, and also my digital nomad essentials that I use both here when I'm in the RV, at the trailer park stationary, and when I'm in the van or the condo or just moving. I just felt the need to remind you that what works for me may not work for you, and what works for someone else may not work for you. And so it's nice to watch these other people on YouTube and follow their blogs, even myself. But your lifestyle and your situation and even where you're at right now might not be where I'm at. That's why I say follow me and get ideas and learn from me. But I may not be the end all be all. I want you to take your own ideas, and why I made a video about why you should stop telling people your ideas, because that little thing inside of you, that little intuition, that little tug that you have that God gave you is for you to explore and find out, and to not be like so terrified to make moves and take action. That's the best way that I've found to really figure out if something's gonna work for me or not, is to take action. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, I'm like, whoops, gotta correct course and figure that out. What works for me might not work for you. And why I said I had this one person over here that makes like all this boring content, even though it's valuable, it's just kind of boring. And I really did believe in them about like
Course.
kind of like what happened to me was this person said like, sell this course. But I had a book. I had courses for sale, but they were like, oh, you need to sell one course, this one thing, and this really high ticket item. And so I sold this one high ticket item and I put everything else on hold. And so I had these books, I had this course. If you didn't know, I actually wrote a book. I've wrote 2 books. I have all these courses, from product development to email marketing, social media, how to build a YouTube channel, retail arbitrage, how I was reselling online. A lot of people were really interested in that, and I had started that. I have a course on cryptocurrency, and then of course I have like my RV life. But this person was like, well, nobody knows what you do, and you can't just make random content, and you're not going to get any followers. And so I just started listening to their advice, and it killed my entire business. I broke my business, I broke my brand, and I'm literally having to rebuild it from the ground up. And so I'll put a link to a lot of those things that I mentioned so you can check them out below this video. My books, my courses, they're in beta. They might be a little bit broken, but they're available. I wanted to bring them back to life. I wanted to bring them somewhere where I could share them with you, because I get asked so many questions about my business or how to do things, and it's like, I have this thing that I could give you, but it's like hidden because this person told me, no, don't do that, don't sell that, or don't sell it in that way, you know. And it's like, why couldn't you just go, before and now you can just go buy those things, like you can click a button and buy them, instead of like having to get on a coaching call with me, which is not really a coaching call but a sales call with me, for me to tell you about the things that you can buy from me. I'm sorry, I don't got time for that. Okay, you want to get on a call with me? Cool, pay me. But it was just available too. And so I've repositioned my brand. I'm repositioning my brand. I made a video about, again, how everything was broken, but also I didn't want you to think that I was coming unwired, and why it's getting weird around here. I made videos about all the things that are going on. I'm trying to keep you in the loop. I really just wanted to reiterate to you about what happened to me by following what someone else was telling me to do and what was working for them, and why what was working for them wasn't necessarily what was going to work for me. And so, you know, I followed this one person who was like this
business person
who wasn't even doing the thing I wanted to do. And then I've got this other person over here, which I wish that I would have followed more of, who's got like this brand and this like
girly, like business, and
she talks about all of her life and shares travels and fun stuff behind the scenes, which I don't do. And I also think it's kind of weird because there's all these other RVers that like share all their RV trips, which granted, we've been stationary for a while. If you haven't seen the video about our stationary RV life, check that out below this video, and some updates I made about everything that's been going on in my RV life and my life in general for like the past year. There's just been a lot going on, and so what works for someone else in their life is not going to work for me in my life. And so why can't I sell the things that I want to sell? Why can't I have my little reselling business over here? Why can't I have my books over here, my courses over here, my consulting? Why can't I have all my different little things, my little dog rescue, our energy patch that we sell? Why can't I have all those things in these different places? I don't understand. And why I created this YouTube channel, which I made a video about, to bring this all kind of together in one place. Not just this YouTube channel, but also Blogging Brandi, like myself. The new Blogging Brandi, BLOGGING BRANDI, was because I wanted to have one central place for all this to be, and not feel like I'm broken and all over the place because of how someone else told me to be, or I was following someone else thinking this is the way I need to do business. And why I say what someone else does and how they run their business and their life and their relationship, even their relationship advice, may not work for you. Relationship advice. I know that sounds weird, but like how me and my boyfriend, someone said something about our relationship recently. People said,
oh my god, like she doesn't call you every single day, like every hour. Oh my gosh, y'all are not together like all the time.
I'm here right now looking at a beautiful lake, which I wish I could show you. I don't know if you can see that or not. You can see this beautiful lake, and he is at the house handling business that he needs to handle. I can't be around him right now. Not that I couldn't, but I actually prefer to be here because I can get some work done that I couldn't get done if I was like at the house with him. And plus we're about to go on a trip, and some more trips and some other fun stuff that I've kind of mentioned and talked about, and things that I haven't mentioned that I can't wait to talk about. What works for someone else doesn't work for you. And someone mentioned our relationship and like, oh, like I couldn't do that. And I was just like, well, it actually probably benefits us even more. And I made a video about 5 tips that can convince your spouse to RV, and it was actually probably more beneficial than you think about why our relationship is amazing, because I'll solo RV by myself, or we have these times apart and then we like come back together. But it's not that we don't talk or text or communicate, it's just we may not do it 24/7. It might be a day or 2 or hours in between. And yeah, I might be away for a couple days or a week or 2 or I might go see him for the week. He's only like an hour away, an hour and a half. Okay, it's not that far. I just feel like you need to understand that what works for me may not work for you, and you don't have to follow someone else and everything that they say and do and let it go in one ear and out the other. Okay, just be like, oh, okay, cool. Don't take everything they say, even your friends, like your best friends, take what they have to say. Unless you're living the life that you want to live, don't take everything they have to say to heart, okay? So hopefully that helps. And the other thing about, I will say, selling, and I'm going to make a video about this, which is why you should like, subscribe, and turn on that little bell icon if you haven't already to be notified when I make new videos, and check the link in the description below this video for all the goodies that I mentioned, if I haven't said that already, after this video is over. But I want to make a video, I've been asked about this a lot, about like the price of your return on your time and investment, okay? Not just money, but your time. And so sometimes the investment that you make on something is valuable in terms of like brand awareness, and then sometimes it's valuable in terms of like putting money back in your pocket. I listen to other people about what I shouldn't put content out about, what I should. It's killed off half my following. It's brought people to me. I've had to literally rebuild my business because I was following these other people so much. And so that's why I say,
Do you, boo? What works for me might not work for you.
there's these other things that I want to share with you in life lessons. So if you haven't checked out the playlist, the other things that I've talked about, please watch that below this video. But I just wanted to tell you, if you or feel in a certain way. That's kind of like why I created this channel, is because I didn't want to just be talking about my RV life on my other channel. I wanted a place and a space to where I could share more about me, more about B, more about blogging Brandi, and more about my life and my story and this life advice. So again, if you like this stuff, comment below, be like, I love this, Brandi. Tell me your thoughts, if you can relate to me, and kind of where you're coming from, so I know. And if you haven't joined my secret fan club and my email list, please do that, because you're really the one that gets first dibs on everything. You know everything first before anyone else. But I'll put a link to that below this video, and you can tell me more about yourself so I know what to make content about, not just what I feel like I need to talk about in these random videos. I just wanted to talk to you about what works for me might not work for you, and tell you how much I loved you, and give you a little bit of life advice that I just felt like God had laid on my heart today. And so I'm blogging Brandi. If we haven't officially met, I told you what to do. Subscribe, like, share, tap the bell icon, comment below, join my fan club if you haven't already. All the goodies are in the description below. If you aren't checking that, you're missing all the fun stuff. Until the next time, that's where you can find all the good stuff, as well as bloggingbrandi.com, bloggingbrandi.com. That's where you can find everything else that I talked about as well. So I don't want to keep rambling, but I hope that you're liking these videos that are not as super like scripted as some of my other content that I make. I just kind of wanted to put this out there and just feel like somebody needs to hear this from me. So I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this one.